Hey everyone, this is Lex and it is day 21 of 21, and I can only tell you that I am overwhelmed with emotion. I am super excited. I know that this journey is ending, but it's opening the door for so many other things that are coming up. And on behalf of myself and my husband and my family, I just want to thank each and every one of you who have joined this journey. Today I received several emails and comments from people who want to become a part of the journey, and it is never too late. I will send out all the emails that I sent to the first group of people, and absolutely, I want to be there knowing that we're on this journey together. And thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting, all those wonderful things that have kept me motivated throughout these 21 days. So today I get to share I'm gonna try to get through this. Today I get to share really what these 21 days were all about, and I had not known. I came into these 21 days truly just trying to find some direction from God. I truly believe that those that are followers and committed to our faith, we have a time of prayer, we have a time of seeking, we have a time of fast, we have a time where we generally sit down, whether it be in a church or a Bible group, and we receive. But this was more intimate. This was a time where the Bible said many times that Jesus went away to pray alone. And I feel like I just needed some closeness with the Father, because aside from everything that I was doing and a busy schedule, the truth of the matter was I felt lost. I felt lost. I felt alone. And after those two feelings, I felt, what is life? What am I doing? Is there anything to look forward to? And even on day one, it all started with the crushing. I realized that inside of me that there were still dreams that I had completely buried. I didn't surrender them to Christ. I think maybe I took them back from him and I buried them because I had my own timeline for them. And where I was at in my life at the present time didn't add up to those dreams coming to pass. Someone asked me what was my favorite day from all the days, and let me tell you, every day had something. Every day was spoke to me, of course, because obviously I shared it with you. Day number 10 was the shift, and it was on day 10 when I came back to my hotel room that I realized the answer has been there all along. It was day number 10 that revealed to me that this whole journey that I was on, trying to find something in God, trying to find those secrets in God that I yearned to know. This whole time, it was there. What was your favorite day? What was the day on this journey that spoke to you, that moved you, that got you out of your seat, that got you excited once again about that dream, about that purpose, about that plan, about that desire, about that call, about that ministry, about that relationship, about that business? What was it? What day was it that spoke and resounded and moved something inside of you that didn't allow you to stay still any longer. Since I gave my life and surrendered it to God, there has only been one mission for me, and that is that all will hear and all will know the God that I serve. My desire was always to bring multitudes to Jesus because I know what he did for me. I am living proof of his grace and mercy. When I met the Lord at 17, 18, I was not in a good place. And I needed something to set me free from the things that were inside so bad. And it didn't stop there. My journey continued. Even after marriage, I needed a savior. And then in my 30s, I realized I needed forgiveness and I needed a new beginning. And for 2 decades, I've had these big dreams to bring this gospel to life in a way that relates to people, in a way that is perhaps unconventional, in a way that God would just use me the way that he saved me. This is who I am. And the same person that you hear on the pulpit is the same person that you're going to sit down and have a meal with. And I've had these absurd, if you will, absurd dreams on how to do that and how to accomplish that. And because of things that have happened, things I've done, things that we've had to go through, I can honestly say that I felt disqualified from those dreams. Not because God disqualified me, but because I disqualified myself, or because, like I said in other videos, I wasn't qualified enough as other people were. And I've had to live some very hard times. Sometimes where I thought that I wasn't going to make it. Sometimes where I thought it was the end. Sometimes where I saw no light in the midst of the darkness. Times where I thought, it's time to pack up and go home. It's a wrap. You know, I thank God for the great, the great years. I thank God for the wonderful experiences and everything, but it's over. I fell in love with this character in the Bible in John chapter 4. She's a nameless woman. And the Bible says in John 4:4 that Jesus had to go through Samaria. And the story is of a woman that she was hurting. She was broken time and time again. And Jesus makes it a point to meet with her. And he sits on a well to wait for her. And he offers her eternal water that she would never thirst again. And of course, she's so excited about this because she never wants to visit this well where every day it's a reminder that she's ostracized from society because of the things that she's lived. And then he exposes her. He exposes her sinful life. He exposes her past. And it hurts her because here's another person. Here is a person not even from her community that knows her junk. But then he goes on to give her a lesson on true worship. How can God use sinners and teach them about true worship? And then he says, go and and tell everyone that the one that they've been waiting for is here. And I love this woman because in spite of her failures, her falls, in spite of how many times she messed up, he uses her to be an evangelist. He calls her. He calls her. And that's how I felt for such a long time. Like, who am I, Lord, that you've called me to be a mouthpiece for you and to bring others to you, others that they know more than what I do. They've known you their whole life. And here I thought this woman was going to be the mark for my ministry. I call the Samaritan woman the Queen of Hearts. And it was on this journey. It was on this journey that I was reminded. You see, because my question was always, God, like, what is it that you want me to do? I know the dream inside, and the dream doesn't fit the person that I am. It's way too big. And on these 21 days, I was inspired once again to dream. I was inspired to know that I didn't call myself, but that God had called me. And all those questions that I had about what is purpose? What is it that you want from my life? Are these dreams even yours? On day number 10, they were answered. And I knew exactly what I was going to talk about on this last day. So here is the nugget. In 2015, I was invited by a group of wonderful friends to come and preach at a youth convention. And I will never forget that night. It was glorious. And I preached on the man in John chapter 5. And I want us to read that tonight together. John chapter 5, verse 1. Afterward, Jesus returned to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish holy days. Inside the city, near the sheep gate, was the pool of Bethesda, with 5 covered porches. Crowds of sick people, blind, lamed, or paralyzed, lay on the porches. One of the men lying there had been sick for 38 years. When Jesus saw him and knew he had been ill for a long time, he asked him, "Would you like to get well?" "I can't, sir," the sick man said, "for I have no one to put me into the pool when the water bubbles up. Someone else always gets there ahead of me." Jesus told him, "Stand up, pick up your mat, and walk." There's a comparison in John 4 and John 5. The comparison is that there is water in both. There is water in the well, and there's the water at the pool. The woman was searching for water, and this lame man, or this sick man, was yearning for someone to put him in the water once the waters were stirred up. But the water that was the similarity in these two stories wasn't the well and it wasn't the pool. It was Jesus, the living water. The Bible says that this man was sick for 38 years. In 2015, 5 years ago, I was 38 years old. I had just come out of one of the worst storms, or was coming out of one of the worst storms of my life, where I almost lost everything. And something always happens in his presence. You become who you were always meant to be. All fear has to go, all sickness has to go, past has to go. Just like the story of the Samaritan woman and Jesus. In his presence, her past was erased, and she was this new person with a voice. And just like John chapter 5, this man who was sick for 38 years, Jesus asked him, "Would you like to get well?" And instead of just saying an outright yes, he gives Jesus an excuse as to why he's not well, as to why he doesn't have an opportunity to get well because other people get into the water before him. And I feel like that's where I've been. I've been stuck for how long with the excuse, well, God, I'm not where I'm supposed to be because I do not get the help that I need to get there. And on this journey of 21 days, God reminded me, you remember all those times that you were asking me, well, what is it that you have for me? What is the ministry? What is the name to the ministry? What is something that's going to be my message to the world? Years ago, I met up with an amazing woman named Igleda. She is a voice for women in this generation. She is powerful. She is truly God's warrior. And I met up with her and I had an opportunity to just speak with her quickly. And out of nowhere, she just starts telling me about her Facebook experience and how she was able to touch thousands upon thousands of lives after just loading live videos on Facebook. And she was just talking to me about that journey. And it bothered me so much because it was around that time where I had heard from the Lord to start this channel. And for all the reasons that you've heard in these last 20 days, or excuses, like this man that was sick for 38 years had given Jesus as to why he was not whole. Here she was just opening up about her journey, her experience, and what God used to give her a net to throw so that multitudes would come and get to know him. Then this year, I had the opportunity to meet Real Talk Kim, another powerful woman with a powerful story for this generation, for women today of all ages. And I had an opportunity again to speak to her. It wasn't a long conversation, but in that conversation, she shared with me how the Lord gave her her name. She just went to Twitter to create an account, and under the suggestions, it suggested Real Talk Kim, and that was what she rolled with, and that is what we know today. And I get in the car and I'm like, I can't stand this. Like, I want to hear from you. I don't want to move unless you move. I want to do what you've called me to do, and I feel like there's something burning inside of me, but it's not coming out. Why is everybody else hearing it and I can't hear you? And after the reading, the worshiping, I heard from God. You've asked me if I've forgotten you. If I've forgotten you, if I didn't dream for you anymore. And the truth is, I've never stopped dreaming. I've never stopped yearning. I've never stopped wanting, in spite of your weaknesses, to bring my name to nations and to people. And you may not have thought that I was interested, but it's been there this whole time. The answer has been there this whole time. He brought me back to this man on John chapter 5. 5 years ago, this man that was sick for 38 years, who was given an opportunity to become well, to become whole, at 38 years old, getting out of the worst time of my life, being confronted with the same question, would you like to be made well? This man, instead of saying absolutely, here I am, gave him excuses. And in these 21 days, I had to give every excuse to God as to why those dreams were stored away. The man said, someone gets there ahead of me. And after the excuses, Jesus says one thing. Jesus says, stand up. And instantly the man was healed. So let me share with you what happened. As I was searching for God in his heart, to find my identity once again, to find out who I was once again, not just who others needed me to be, but who I was for him. Because that's really what matters. To me, at least, it matters to me that I matter to him. That year that I preached that message, the following year, I made a shirt called This Is My Time. I didn't know that it was a setup. I thought that I just created a shirt to financially be some kind of a support system for my household because I'm a hustler. I like to get things done because I believe that we've been created to produce. This year, when I went to the Bay Area, my husband provoked me to make more shirts, and I ran out of the ones that I had sold for the last 4 years. So I made new ones. Again, with This Is My Time, I liked the sound of it. And when we almost sold out of them, I realized this whole time that was the ministry. That was the calling. Like that lame man that was there for 38 years, the time had come for him to be healed. He had to describe his reason to Jesus so that we can read it. Every time I feel like I am next in line, someone gets in ahead of me. But this is my time. I don't know where you've been for the last 38 years, the last 5, 7, 11, 12. I don't know where you've been the last year that maybe you felt like everyone else is jumping into the pool, jumping in to their promise, jumping in to where God has called them to be. Everyone else is producing, everyone else is writing, everyone else is getting those jobs, everyone else is getting that full-time ministry, everyone else is serving, everyone else is reaping. But on day 21, this whole time, what started 5 years ago, and I had no idea that it was God's plan for me. This is my time. So, these 21 days, I found my purpose because I drew close. Our purpose is only found in him. This man would have continued to be ill for another 2 years at 40, at 50, had Jesus not come in that day. The living water. He thought he needed to jump into the water when the living water just needed to speak to him. So I introduce to you the new journey for the next, I don't know how many years. But as This Is My Time unfolds, I want to be able to share it with you so that you could be inspired and so that you could see that you're next in line for your miracle. You're next in line for your calling to come to pass. You're next in line for your dream to come true. You're next in line for your healing. You're next in line for that promotion. You're next in line to be married. You're next in line to have that child. You're next in line. This is your time. God bless, and I'll see you very soon. This is my time. Lex.